to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
G'day. I'll do it then. Welcome to Patriots across the pond and Frens, REDPILLING RENE, episode 6. We are live on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and mine and Elisa's Twitter pages, hopefully. How are you guys? I've missed you, Elisa, and I've missed you too, Renee. So, how you doing?
Hey, Stu.
Doing good.
Hi, Lisa.
Good.
How are ya?
Good. Good.
Good.
Quite,
So
quite the week we've had, huh?
Oh, it's been so sad. You know,
know.
Renee's aunt, George's mom was a sad, but it was really, they were really beautiful services, everything.
And everyone really came together. It was very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
You know, she'll be missed.
I know. That wind really kicked up there at the cemetery, huh?
I never had an hour father so fast in my life.
I think she was there, fast and furious. It was wonderful.
Yeah, you told me about that, Elisa, all the wind picking up right at that
Yeah.
particular moment.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It
So
was-
I have to share something with Renee. Obviously, you too, Stu. So you didn't come to the luncheon, Renee, because you had to get back to work. However, there was discussion of you at our table, because if anybody doesn't know, my daughter works in Renee's office, and so does George's son. So they were both at our table. And so some of the discussion came up about some of the things you've been telling people in the office.
Oh.
Some health stuff, whether it be your copper cup, wait, let me think what else. The copper cup,
Garlic.
the AirPods,
Something about garlic, perhaps?
something about garlic, but forget about the garlic, because I could see how the way you wanted to treat yourself with garlic might be perceived as nutty. Okay, so let's put that one aside for a
The
second.
word nutty is not the word I was thinking of.
But the other thing, like with the AirPods and the copper,
Butty.
well, there was a lot of, let me say, doubters at the table, very, very emphatic. And so this is my world, so I'm used to it.
Did you show control?
Let me tell, that's what I wanted to just tell you. So I interjected and said, no, that's true. The energy that comes off of these AirPods is not good.
Oh.
And I got a resounding, I'm not going to say who. I
don't think you have to.
That's not true. I said, yeah, it is. No, it's not. And I started getting a litany of nonsense of how it's not true. Then there was the copper cup, which does absolutely nothing. So what I wanted to impress upon you is that you could take two roads in those instances, at least my two roads. One is to just smack the person and start texting them backup information of why you're right.
Yeah.
And the other one is to sit back and say, you know what?
Okay.
Put it out there. If they don't want to take it, that's their choice. Everybody has free will, though it's not easy.
I get it. I was that person.
Yeah.
I was.
And I was looking over at the table where your brother was sitting, going, "Where is he? Where is he? I need my partner in this."
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Let me just say one thing about that, because I've been discussing this with someone in the gym, because there's only a couple of us in the gym that actually wear earphones when we're working out or when I'm out running that have got wires on them, because we won't use earbuds and stuff like that. Now, I believe that, and anyone can tell me if I'm wrong on this, that normally you can only connect one Bluetooth device to a phone or an iPod or a unit at a time. So because they are wireless, the connection from the phone or your iPod or whatever goes to one of these Bluetooth devices. That Bluetooth device has got to connect to the other one in some way. It's not going to go over the top of your head, is it? It's going to go through your pineal gland right in the middle of your head, potentially. Now, that doesn't sound very nice to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I had this conversation with my wife, and she was a little bit incredulous. And then I kind of used that analysis, but I didn't take it as far as I should have. I needed to explain to her that it's pineal interference. I didn't do that. So I just basically said, the shortest distance between two paths is a
straight
line. Is it an arc? No. Is it this? No. So it's gotta.
Yeah. And, it puts credulence, doesn't it, to the fact that most of the people I see in the gym are like fucking zombies. They don't really talk to anyone. There's a few people that get on and have a chat and, smile, but most people are in there just.
So, I've been reading articles, mainstream articles that this is kind of getting out there. So athletes, you rarely see athletes with the wireless ones, rarely. So they've been showing, I don't know where, I think maybe like some kind of sports channel like ESPN, and they showed, American football players all wired. It's getting out in the mainstream because a lot of the stuff that we talk about doesn't make sense to normal people. And I now am including myself as not a normal person, as a, I'm at pink pill. I'm not red yet. I'm red in training. But it makes sense to people because it's all electromagnetic. We're organic beings. There's electrical dimensions to all of us. And I think people are, at least that makes sense to them. That makes sense to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like when you say about describing it, like to my kids, I say to them, the Bluetooth goes through your head, affects your pineal, and then I just cut to the chase and go, it fucks you up. Stop using them.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to whip my wife into shape on that. Like, she needs to just understand. Like, I'm just gonna go buy hers. Like, these are like the best on the market. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't know what all this Bluetooth, this Wi-Fi, this potential 5G that does or does not exist, is doing to us. And all these singles, radio, telecommunications, mobile phones, people having those to their ears all the time. It's, it is not good, which is why everyone needs to, as we say all the time, get out into nature as much as possible.
So Stu, is one of those morons that got the vaccine, I've been hearing rumblings that there's some link between 5G and the vaccine.
Potentially.
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Essentially, and Stu, correct me, or anyone in the chat, correct me if I'm not expressing this the right way, but essentially the plan was that these towers, all these towers that are all over the freaking place, the frequency was supposed to be set to a certain frequency, vibration, whatever, that was going to, I guess, interfere or set off some of the nanoparticles, I guess the graphene oxide or whatever allegedly was in the vaccine, right? None of us know for sure. Let's be real, right? We know what the plan was. So that's what I'm telling you. So the plan was that, and they adjusted that frequency, it would, affect that, and it would we drop dead because the frequency would be at such a level that our bodies couldn't handle it. Now, Stu, they say that that's kind of what they did in Wuhan. I don't know, when people were just falling down and they were.
Yeah, but you've got most of those videos we were looking at, people were falling down and then putting their hands in front of their face when they were falling over. So most of it was probably faked.
Right.
I mean, my concern is, listen, you're supposed to live like you're dying. That's like a good way to be. I just don't want to I don't want to live like I'm dying.
Yeah, no, but anyway, so let me just finish that story. So the story goes, and I don't know what year or what happened, but the story goes that Trump and the military went in and changed all those frequencies. So I believe it was back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, that I was listening. I think it was Simon Parks who was actually explaining that the United States at that point was safe. So I don't know what the rollout was like around the world, because obviously they tried to, they put these things all around. So now, the question I always have with this is, I pretty much believe 100% that was the plan. I believe they want to kill us, the elites. They don't want us here, whatever. They want to have the planet to themselves. However, did it actually happen? Were we just told that was supposed to happen? I tend to believe that we're safe. And I also tend to believe that for the most part, in my humble opinion, that most people did not get the bad vaccine.
So let me ask you this question, just because I really don't want to wake up someday and have my blood explode. All right. I really don't. It's not something I would look forward to. Is there any way, maybe through an advanced MRI, a PET scan, because I will spend the money, I don't care, to see if I have this graphene in my bloodstream?
Yeah, I think if you do, Dr. Brian Ardis is talking about potentially a D-dimer test or something like that. Now, I agree with Elisa. I believe the majority of it, 85-90% of it, was saline. So I don't think people have got anything to worry about.
Listen, for my peace of mind, I just need to make sure.
Because
then I'm thinking, well, maybe if it's in me and in my family, we could do perhaps dialysis. I mean, to clean the blood.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's different to that, because they were talking, we were watching videos. A couple of things in the COVID in that time is, number one, people were all sticking magnets to themselves, putting videos online by the injection sites. So we're talking about graphene oxide, but then we saw a lot of videos. There was a lot of workmen working on these 5G towers. Now, we've got videos all saved in places. People were putting these units in that had COVID-19 on them, right? And everyone's panicking and freaking out and stuff. But we think that was the white hats putting these devices into all the 5G towers to de-weaponize them so that they couldn't fire them up to the 60 gigahertz potentially. There's so much information out there that the Patriots are in control of this. Maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. The more I watch, this operation has gone back decades and decades and decades, and they knew it was going to do this. If you had done a bit of your homework and watched that second episode of Devolved, it all talks about the military working on their own vaccine behind the scenes while all this was going on.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so this is what I would say to you, okay? A majority of what is going to save you is your frequency, your belief system, because that's one of the things they've never wanted us to know. That's why they've tried to, calcify our pineal and all the other things they've done to not enable us to have that connection with source. So what I would say to you is your belief system, vibration, and consciousness is the most powerful tool you have,
Alright, good.
more than dialysis and all that other shit. Believing that you're healthy, visualizing your blood, clean blood, elongating telomeres, all that stuff is what's good. Physically, and I think a lot of these doctors, the ones that of course were called quacks during COVID, they all encourage detoxing. Now, detoxing is not just for the vaccine, it's just for life and everything that comes at us. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, take your baths, do your foot baths, take your zeolites. If you take a bath with baking soda, Epsom salt, borax, and bentonite clay, okay, those things are meant to pull out a lot of the nanoparticles, to pull out the toxins that we take in every day.
One more time.
Renee, did I add you to my doctor's helpline on Telegram?
Okay, great. All right, but
no, did I add you to it?
Tell me baking soda.
Baking soda. Make sure it's organic.
Yeah, you're in there.
Epsom salt, borax. That's another thing. The boron.
Where does one get borax?
Right on. Go. You can get everything I'm telling you right on Amazon. I'll send you the links after the show.
Okay, borax and what else?
Bentonite clay. Bentonite clay. I said that very New Yorkish. Bentonite clay.
Bentonite. You sounded very like Canarsie.
And I believe, I'll double check.
Sorry,
I believe
Canassie.
It's a cup each of the Epsom salt and the baking soda, and I think, and people in the chat will correct me, I think it's a half a cup of the other two, the borax and the. But for example, when you go to Mel's place, right, and you're in the scalar light, you can buy a pre-mixed bag. It doesn't have bentonite clay in it, but it has the borax, and so everybody's using this. It cleanses your the zeolites are going to help to pull a lot of the heavy metals. You could also take fulvic and humic acid. I'll send you a link. The products are great. They're made by a guy named Lance Shuttler. He's a real patriot, and I'm going to forget, but he's like a biologist, and he's put together. And that will help pull all this stuff out of you. Please don't make yourself like nuts at this point, because we really do believe this was a military operation, and that they would not have really put us in that much harm. And no offense, Stu, but especially in the United States.
Yeah. Well, worldwide, hopefully. Now, look,
I believe it's worldwide, but I'm just to give him that extra boost of, you had the U.S. and the U.S. military that were, head of the alliance. So
yeah, but I'm sure the United Kingdom was included in that.
Absolutely, but I'm just trying to give you that little extra boost of.
Yeah, but I don't want Stu to feel bad.
No, Stu doesn't.
Don't worry about me. I couldn't give a fuck.
That he lives in a failed monarchy.
Oh yeah, but I believe that Trump and all that, and the military alliance, control of all that as well. They've all been puppeted, replaced, capitulated. So whatever. Yeah. Now, listen, anyone listening to this, we all went onto Telegram in sort of January 2021 when we got booted off Twitter. About a year later, so this is over 4 years ago, I started a group on Telegram called Stu's News Doctors Helpline. It's only got 17 subscribers in it because I haven't put it out there. It's not public. It's for anyone that asks. But in this, if I can just scroll all the way back to the start. Bear with me a minute. Right. Important. I'm not a doctor. I have, over like the last 4 or 5 years, every post out of like the 200,000 that I've put into my Stu's News Telegram, that is medical information from people that are doctors that are talking about vaccines, protocols, making your own hydroxychloroquine, all this stuff to do throughout the COVID, people that regret taking the jab. There is about 117 posts in here And it is amazing. If anyone is worried, this is where you need to go. Right? There is so much information, and it talks
and
about.
You sent me that link, Stu?
You're in the group. I added you to it.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're in there. Look.
Yep,
Mine is too.
I see myself.
No.
Oh, just add me.
Yeah, I will do. But
I mean, I have so much shit that I've collected through, you know, but it's just good to have because it's a good reference and referral for.
Everyone should be in there. And I mean, it's got so much stuff in it about chlorine dioxides and.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Oh, that yeah.
Dive into.
I need to know about that.
You know, it's got. There's so much in here, right?
So is it true that chlorine dioxide's like the ultimate cure-all, along with ivermectin and the one that I can never pronounce?
Fenbendazole.
Yeah, and that was when they made fun of him. Oh, he wants bleach.
Mine should be in today. I should have it today. I ordered it. So
listen, I'm going to give you some advice. Do not make yourself crazy. The bottom line is the human body is so amazing and made from the divine creator, and it has withstood so much, and it continues to withstand. So the smallest things that you're doing are making a huge difference, right? You eat organic, you drink distilled water when you can. If you can't, it's not gonna, you're not gonna die, right? If you're in a restaurant, whatever, just do the best you can, because the consciousness and your mentality is the thing. The more you're stressed, the more you're putting toxins in your body. So don't. So
I was able to, thanks to you, Elisa, I was able to change the water supply in my kitchen.
Okay.
And even the dogs get distilled water now. They're very, very grateful. So the pugs say thank you.
Aw. And I'll tell you two more things before we kind of jump into things. So one, there was a video that I hope we could show Stu. I think he will appreciate as a Cuban American. It's the one from 2020 where Trump actually is talking about Cuba. Did you see that one? I know Jordan Clark had the clip on his show, and maybe I sent it to you. Did I send that to you, Renee, about Cuba and that wonderful speech that Trump gave about the? Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk.
That was very, very inspirational. And this Cuba stuff is really, it's very interesting because I'm in a position where I can make a difference there. I have my house in Florida. I live in New York, but, I'm part of that community. And there are members of my family that have enormous influence with that community. So I know that when this starts to crumble, which is like very, very soon, I will be involved. I know I will be. It's not even a question. Because I'm connected to the people that would make a difference down there. So I will make a difference in Cuba. And that's really exciting because it's rare that in a life you can be almost at the beginning of a country, like almost like a founder. It's going to be, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. The other thing I want to tell you, just family wise, so a lot of his family, like they're very, very educated, but a segment of them are pharmacists, very science based. So you can't do it directly. I realized you can't.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how I infiltrated. So so I had a conversation with one of the family members saying, you've been through a lot and it's a lot. You really need to do something nice for yourself in the coming weeks, like do a spa day, do something to alleviate some of the stress. I said, and you might want to consider, detoxing from all the stress, right? Mm-hmm. Not the fact that they've probably had 8,000 boosters and all that stuff. So I told one of the younger family members about, getting some zeolites, and I sent the links and the isotonic vitamins, and taking a nice, detox bath. And there was a lot of reception because I didn't position it, in the way of
Right.
The other stuff, it was very personal to like, the grief just causes a lot of, and you want to release that.
Good.
So there's always a way to get to people,
Right.
even if we know what we're really telling them to save them and protect them, but they think it's something else. Who cares?
Right.
As long as
they're pharmacists, so they're disciples of Rockefeller. They are medicine is profit mentality people, which, by the way, is so awful.
It is so awful
that this was done to us. If they had these solutions, how much suffering? I mean, I guess they don't care because they don't, for many reasons, they don't really even see us as people.
No, we are sheep, useless eaters. That's why they call us goyim.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, look, I just want to say a few things because we've got some stuff going on over here at the moment. We've all talked about, is there going to be another lockdown? Whether it's the White Hats will use it, but the EBS out and all these sorts of things. But going on over here at the moment, we have got a meningitis epidemic. So I just went, well. So in November 2025, the UK ran the largest situation of a pandemic in UK history based on the outbreak of enterovirus, which can lead to serious conditions such as meningitis. Now the UK Health Secretary has launched an immediate targeted vaccination programme for meningitis. We've seen this before. We know how it works. Now, we know that they did tabletop exercises, Event 21 and those things before COVID, right? And we always see these things, even like 9/11, they were doing drills. The London bombings, they were doing drills, scenarios of these events happening, and then they happen. So are we going to get another lockdown? Just got a couple of little videos to play because...
Given the severity of the situation, I can confirm to the House that we will begin a targeted vaccination programme for students living in halls of residence at the University of Kent in Canterbury, which will begin in the coming days. UK HSA will provide further advice on other cohorts in the coming days. On the question of wider eligibility, we obviously follow the expert independent advice of the JCVI. In light of this latest outbreak, I will be asking them to re-examine eligibility for meningitis vaccines.
Right, so that's what happened. Now, people have been looking into this.
So, Sue, you do realize that anything said with a British accent sounds credible to an American.
Good. Well, that's wonderful to hear, sir. Now, carry on listening. It's
the honest to God truth. I hear something with a British accent, I'm like, okay.
What did you... I don't want to big myself up, but didn't you say to me in the first chat we had that we didn't go online? Stu, I could listen to you talk all day long. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter, British accent. I could watch Harry Potter all day.
Right. Yeah. I know. So true.
So we've dug this document out, Exercise Pegasus, on the 4th of November, 2025. So people are looking into that. Now, this Canterbury University, where this outbreak is, it's the chemistry nightclub, potentially. I'll just play this. This is 40 seconds.
The fatal meningitis outbreak blighting British students has now spread to France, with 2 fresh cases also confirmed in the UK. Health officials are battling to prevent the spread of the fast-acting strain of meningitis B, which has already killed 2 students in Kent. Last weekend, French authorities alerted the UK Health Security Agency to a confirmed case of meningitis in France. Health Secretary Wes Streeting told the Commons it had been discovered in a student across the Channel who had attended the University of Kent. Meanwhile, the number of Brits in hospital with the disease now stands at 15, with 4 cases confirmed to be meningitis B, one of the deadliest strains. It comes as a small targeted vaccination program is set to begin in the coming days, starting with students on the uni campus in Canterbury.
Right, and that is 20 miles away from me, Canterbury. I've got a big university, so there's more people talking about this. And I made a post. It's also worth noting that the word meningitis comes up numerous times when searched in the Pfizer COVID-19 safety and efficacy document. All right. Do pay attention to the known effects, not side effects, in the last 9 pages of almost 1,300 list of adverse events of special interest. Now, I don't want to piss anyone off by showing this, but we got this document in 2021. Now, was this document made... Pfizer got taken to court in 2021, I think, to release their safety and efficacy data of the Pfizer COVID jab, right? They argued in court that they wanted the data hidden for 55 years, and then they changed it to 75 years. It was a Freedom of Information Act request. The judge said, no, you've got to start releasing this data. He gave a month. So we got this document in 2021. Now, if anyone hasn't seen this, right, and I do believe that if the dark side were in control, would we have ever seen this document anyway? That's something to be mindful. And we believe this military operation has been working behind the scenes. But this Pfizer document is 38 pages long. But the last 9 pages is a list of adverse events of special interest. All right? And the word meningitis appears in here 9 times. But these are the side effects or effects of the COVID jab.
And so I want to also say that they have used the word side effect. It's not a side effect. I don't care what drug it is. It is a poison that is happening to your body and that the body is reacting to try to get rid of it. So let's not call these side effects. Let's call them what they are. They're poisonings.
Yeah, they're effects.
If we change the language, we change the understanding. So if you take the 40,000 foot view, what's going on? Once again, it's the same play, different dialogue, right? It's the same thing they're trying to show. They build the fear, they build the panic, they have someone die, and then they try to roll this out. Now, I believe from a larger view, the UK is getting they're really getting hit right now to wake people up because they're just as sleepy as New Yorkers are. And so they got Keir Starmer, all the ridiculousness, all the craziness that's happening, right? Their Biden, and now you have another thing. And I believe it's to see, are these kids and these people going to stand up and give the middle finger, or are like how many are going to buy into it? Again, another litmus test.
Exactly. And I got a message on Facebook this morning from someone that couldn't listen to me anymore, called me a fucking child murderer and all this sorts of stuff. Right, so they deleted me, but they were still able to send me messages. This morning I got a message saying, why don't me and all my crazy friends, why aren't we all over in Canterbury murdering people at the moment? So just fucking blocked her. Right, it's absolutely pathetic. You know, we're putting out information coming out from doctors and medical documents like that. So, you know, it's all water off the duck's back to me. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me. I do my job. I'm there for people who need me. And that's how it goes. But I do believe with Elisa, you know, is this something to make the kids? Now, I mean, you saw that queue of people there standing up, waiting to be tested and stuff. It's just going back to the COVID days. But how many people now are going to go, fuck that? Well, I'm certainly not going to that nightclub. And, you know.
Do we know that's real footage too? Like, see, that's the thing. Like, were you there? Was I there? Are those, right. Is that an old footage that they dragged up, 6 years ago?
No, don't know about that.
And that leads me to another situation that humanity now has to deal with. Every video that we see now, we have to question: is this real? Is this real?
Yeah,
is this real? I mean, it's like it's not like the days of Walter Cronkite, where the news is the news.
Well, it wasn't the news, but
I mean, of course, Elisa, I'm sure.
See, that's really interesting what you said there, Elisa, because I haven't looked at that. Other people are sharing that. And but what if they've, and I'm not saying this is just hypothetically, what if we find out in the 48 to 72 hour rule, they've been using footage from COVID and people queuing up for the COVID injection? So it's something to be mindful about and keep our eyes on. But people in the UK, eyes on. Sorry, Renee.
No, it's just, it's they're attacking us psychologically, they're attacking us physically, they're attacking us in the markets, they're attacking our health. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, I've said for a long time, potentially we're going to get another lockdown. Whether the White Hat's going to use it, the dark side's the last gasp, so, we might do. I've paid for my flight now, come to the States, so hopefully I can get my
I
money.
heard Elisa and I are actively searching for a wonderful steakhouse.
Oh, yeah. Now, Elisa sent me an absolutely wonderful itinerary of how I'm going to be treated, the restaurants we're going to go to, and the hotels.
So what are your dates, Stu?
21st to the 1st.
April 21st, I think, is a Tuesday to the 1st.
Tuesday till the Friday, May the 1st.
Ah.
Yeah. So that'd be good.
See, if you were going to Miami for a few days, we would go to the Miami Grand Prix.
Oh, well, let's talk about
that. Maybe someone on this call has tickets.
Ooh. Well, that's something we can talk about. Now, one thing I didn't see on that list was a really nice Indian restaurant, so that's something we'll have to discuss.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, no, we got it. No, we got the place. I know the best Indian restaurant in New York City.
Excellent.
It is called Tamarind.
Oh, no, you mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Tamarind flavoring is beautiful. Yeah.
Tops. It is. On
now, night swimwear. Right.
Lisa, why don't we do Tamarind? We don't have to do a steakhouse. We'll do Tamarind.
Well, can we do Tamarind and a steakhouse and a Chinese, please?
I'm gonna send you my itinerary that I made for him, and we'll see where with George and you, and we could get
And we're also discussing. You like a good glass of wine? A good wine?
I do.
So we have vineyards out here, like really wonderful vineyards in Long Island. So we're thinking of having and remember, I mean, I own a law firm, so I have a driver. We don't need to drink it. And I have a car that lends itself to this type of thing.
We have also got an Elisa, but apparently half a glass of wine and she's off her nut anyway. So
gone.
So I can have the driver drive my car. We don't have to drink and drive. Like what we did for the concert. Remember, Elisa, when we went to see The Who? Yeah. We didn't have to drive. We can hang out. I know George isn't drinking anymore. And he's not really one for wine either. So maybe he could just hang out with us and drink distilled water.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he'll drink, but
well, look, it all sounds wonderful. I'm putty in your hands when I come over there, and I might even have to extend if we keep going out and I'm enjoying myself, because I've bought myself a laptop with some extra screens, and it's much cheaper for me to buy it over there. So they're turning up at least. So I will have my full podcasting studio wherever I am anyway. So I might be staying there for a year or two. You never know yet.
I know that I'm going to be heading down to Miami that week because I've got the Grand Prix. So, we'll hang out a bit. We'll do stuff. But then I've got Grand Prix stuff. And I'll tell you when the Grand Prix is. Just checking, make sure we have the right dates, make sure I'm not talking nonsense here. Miami Grand Prix.
What's that? What, motor racing?
Yeah.
Formula One.
Oh, it's May 1st to the 3rd. So May 1st is a Friday, May 2nd is Saturday, and May 3rd is the Grand Prix. Yeah. All right, well, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about that
later. So let's get we can talk about whatever you want today. You can talk about Rene, but I just want to show you one thing first, and then I've got nothing else to show unless we go off in different directions. But I've been watching an awful lot of analysis, what's going on in Iran, the gameplay, the multi-dimensional chess moves and stuff, and I've got a little video here. It's Alpha Warrior and Josh Reed talking on DEFCON 0. It's about 8 minutes long. It's on 1.25 speed, so it might be a little bit shorter, but they're talking about the oil situation especially. But pay attention to the last couple of minutes with what Trump and Putin may have done months ago in preparation for this, which sort of shows you they're all working together, and this is a military operation and all pre-planned stuff, right?
Well, because the ships have to have insurance to transit on maritime authority, which means that in order to go through the Straits of Hormuz, their insurance carrier has got to cover it. Now, do you know who the largest insurance carrier of maritime transport is in the world, with over 85% of all seaborne companies going through this one small company that's been around for over 300 years? You know who it is?
Tell us, because you told me.
Lloyd's of London. You know where they're located?
I think it's that name.
London. Now, when the Straits of Hormuz closed, Lloyd's of London did what? They pulled all the insurance. Well, guess what? The next day, Donald Trump comes out and says, oh, and by the way, to any maritime company out there, the United States of America will now insure you to go through the Straits of Hormuz. And that's when the traffic started picking up. Lloyd's of London, within hours, came back and said, oh, we apologize. Yeah, we will insure everybody that goes through there. Now, Peter Navarro, he's an economist in Trump administration. He wrote an article a while back about this, and he called it the Iran terror premium. And basically what it is that whenever the oil markets are skyrocketing up, $90 a barrel, $120 a barrel, it's all about what's called the Iran terror premium. And this is basically Khomeini, the Ayatollah, the IRGC, doing something in the Middle East that is sparking outrage and then threatening the Strait of Hormuz. And when they threaten the Strait of Hormuz, you get a $5 to $15 increase per barrel of oil. And if you mark this out over the last 30 years, if you just look at every time the Iran terror premium has occurred, the premium per barrel goes up, and that's equivalent to about $30 trillion over 30 years. Now, who's the benefactor of that? Well, when oil barrel prices go up and the threat level in the Middle East goes up, does Lloyd's of London increase those insurance premiums? Absolutely, they do. What about the London financial bankers and the central bankers who are actually providing the liquidity for corporations around the world to move that oil? So people, this is a little idea of how the global trade infrastructure operates. When you have $1 billion of oil that's leaving port and it's going to go to another foreign nation, the company that's buying that oil is not paying $1 billion immediately upright for that billion barrels. They don't have it. Nobody has that level of liquidity to provide that except for banks. So what do? Is they borrow it through the infra banking structure, the intra banking infrastructure. They take short interim loans out at a percentage interest rate. So they'll borrow the money from a London bank or a large financial institution, primarily based in London, and they'll be paying interest on that oil at $100 a barrel. Now, who controls the majority of the derivatives trade? Most of them are in New York or London.
So you covered this, but it went through fast. And I brought up a little thing to read real quick, just to make sure everybody's kind of understanding, when you're talking BP, right? And the oil company. So I just want to read a little snippet to people. And then definitely, if you want to expand on it, you can. You mentioned it, but I just want to make sure everybody's up to speed on this. The Anglo-Persian Oil Company, APOC, founded in 1909 after major discoveries became crucial to British industrial and naval power. The British government acquired a 51% stake in 1914, sparking long-term tensions over revenue, culminating in the 1953 CIA-backed coup against the Iranian Prime Minister Mossadegh, following his nationalization of the oil industry. So I wanted to plug in that little piece. There's so much more to that.
Oh my God, we could spend hours on just that.
We could do a series on just that. But just to make people understand, well, London and BP and Iran,
well, go back to 1912 as well. You have what's known as the Belford. Lord Belford is the one who granted the land of Palestine to the Rothschilds. Of 1917. Which the grant was utilized in 1948 for the Israel settlement in the Middle East and Palestine, which then became the settlement of Israel. Who were the first? Let me ask you this. How long were Jews going into that area of Palestine? They started back in the 1870s. Did you know that?
I didn't know they started that far back.
The first migration in the 20th centuries of Jews into modern day Israel or into Palestine during that time was actually done by the Nazis. The Nazis actually made deals with the Zionists. You can find these old coins. It's Zionist on one side, Star David on one side, and Nazi on the other. And they were Zionists who basically aligned with the Nazis, and they started to exile and migrate out and go into Palestine in the 1930s. That obviously didn't turn out too well for them a few years later. But when you start to go into the idea of Israel as an establishment, I mean, British intelligence is who trained the Mossad in its early years of formation. So, I mean, the connectivity that goes back, I mean, the Central Intelligence Agency and all of, whether it's MK Artichoke, MK Ultra, all of the MK programs, I mean, these derived in the 1930s out of the Tavistock Institute, which was ran by Colonel Orange, which was a British colonel. I mean, we got to do our history here, and we got to start integrating it back because all roads lead to London. So,
and I'm glad we're going here because it's been a couple of years for those that have listened to me in these virtual town halls on X. Not like everybody wants to focus on the curly sideburns, but in the end, if you think that's where it ends, you've missed it. This is always going to take you back to the crown.
Yep. So why oil? Why energy? Why is this all about energy? Well, let me go back into the Russia thing real quick because I didn't finish this. So Lloyd's of London, right? They were doing this. So oil prices, when the Straits of Hormuz closed down, did what? They skyrocketed, didn't they? So that means the London bankers make a lot of money.
A lot.
But then something happened, and the oil prices dropped. First time in history they went up, and then the next day they dropped. Do you know what that something was?
That was Trump making a statement.
That was Trump actually having Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, reduce certain sanctions on Russia, which freed up hundreds of barrels of oil back into the market. Now, you want to know what's interesting about the relinquishing of certain sanctions that they did? It only targeted a certain amount of Russian oil that was seaborne, that was seafaring. It was out at sea. Okay? Now, this is interesting. These were Russian tankers, so they only released the sanctions on Russian oil tankers that were currently out at sea. You want to know when those oil tankers went out to sea?
How long ago, brother? Tell me.
About August 22nd, 2025, the day after the Alaska summit, when Russia filled up through Arctic LNG, filled up all of these oil tankers and sent them out to sea with no buyers and just left them sitting out there in the Arctic.
Almost like somebody knew what was going to happen.
Almost like Putin and Trump knew what was going to happen.
That is pretty fucking slick, dude.
Now, people are like, there's no sovereign alliance. Really?
Come on.
It's like the different. No, the best one I'm hearing all day is Putin is providing strategic satellite imagery and guidance control to Iran. No, he's not. Like, Mojtaba Khomeini is in Russia. No, he's not. The doozy I heard today is that Trump is weighing the option of sending Delta Force into Russia and sparking a whole new World War III to go kill Khomeini. Get out of here. Dude, these people are retarded. And they're on Fox News. They're on the top podcast in the country saying this shit. And it's like, slap yourself. 20th century warfare is over, people. Welcome to fifth generation unrestricted.
And that is why.
Oh my God, I have so many, like my brain is going crazy right now. Do you want us to kind of put our 2 cents in, Renee, or you want to talk?
I want to listen.
All right. First of all, let's think about Iran, right? It's been a center of terrorism and all kinds of stuff, but who's behind it? Israel.
Yeah.
So this is so amazing because if you think of it strategically, Trump has been the biggest supporter of Israel, our friend, our this, our that, our biggest ally, right? Because why? Because he can't come off looking like the aggressor. But what is actually happening is that we are going into Iran, which is a stronghold for Israel, right? Saving Israel for last. And we're blasting them. We're going to blast them, right? Okay, so then I heard yesterday, I guess it was the 16th. I was a little behind in watching my stuff, but I was watching, and I know people don't like him, but I just look for info. I don't care who the source is. I was watching Phil, and if you watch that, he's talking about how, or confirming through his sources, that Netanyahu, or as he calls it, he pronounced his name all wrong, has been taken out. Like he's gone. So we don't know that yet as a out in the open. But
He's gone.
But this is like so relating back to Israel. Now, then you consider this whole situation with Russia and what Josh was just talking about, right? And now the reveal has been happening with this whole Iran thing that there's an alliance, right? How many years we've been, and even to Trump, part of the show, Russia's bad, Russia this, Russia that, right? But now we're seeing, wait a minute, there is a world alliance that's being disclosed to us that we're working to. Now, the average people are not seeing this, right? The normies, and they're still putting out the narrative. And I know when Josh was saying Fox, like, I think there's still a strategy because I believe the white hats are in control of all media at this point. That's my own humble opinion. So there's a reason that they're doing that. They're doing it in this slow oppositional way at this point, because again, you have to spoon feed. You can't just throw a bucket of ice on people. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts, but I think we're watching in real time the takedown of Israel.
Let me say one thing, and I'll just read this. It's quite a lengthy post from Laura Aberley. Now, there was many people commentating on these sorts of things. We could sit here talking about this for hours and hours and hours, but there's just some interesting bits. Now, what Trump is doing geniusly by always aligning himself with Israel and Bibi and the greatest president, all this sorts of stuff, is that he is dismantling this network behind the scenes, and no one can call him anti-Semitic at any stage of it. Right, so Laura Aberley writes, the more I watch things unfold, the more I feel people are completely misreading what's actually happening. Everyone keeps reducing it to something simple, that Trump's proximity to Israel automatically means alignment, but that is not the case. Let's not lose sight of Trump's main aim, the draining of the swamp, not just in the US, but globally. Israel is a very big part of that swamp. It controls a massive network of power that operates through politics, intelligence, money, blackmail, media, all of it, intertwined and embedded deep inside Washington and far beyond. This is the type of enemy that you don't just come out and confront directly. You couldn't. It would be political suicide at best and something far worse at worst. Let's remember Charlie. So the idea that this would ever be handled in a direct, obvious way has never made sense to me. What would make sense, however, is that something far more strategic, something that requires proximity rather than distance, because you can't expose something like that from the outside. You have to get close enough to see it clearly, close enough to let it reveal itself, and more importantly, close enough for others to start seeing it too. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the shift we are witnessing is not coming from where you would expect it. It's not the Democrats leading this conversation. It's not the usual critics of Trump. It's coming from people who have been close to him for years, people he trusts, people who have had access to him. They are the ones now speaking openly about Israel, about influence, about pressure, about how far the reach actually goes, even when doing so reflects badly on Trump himself. That is not something people should just brush aside, because it raises much bigger question. Why would those voices risk undermining him publicly? Maybe because there is a larger process unfolding. If Trump himself came out and said all of this directly, it would be dismissed immediately, shut down before it even had the chance to land, and more importantly, he would be putting America in danger. Remember, Israel is a bigger threat than Iran. It's Israel that has nuclear weapons. When the narrative starts shifting through multiple voices, when the contradictions begin to surface organically, when people start noticing patterns for themselves, something very different happens. Perception begins to change. To me, this war has never really been about Iran in the way it's being presented. Iran feels more like the stage on which something else is playing out, something that has been operating in the shadows for a very long time and is now being brought slowly but deliberately into the light. And maybe that is why everything feels so confusing, so contradictory, because this isn't a conventional conflict with clear lines and clear messaging. It feels far more like an exposure process. And maybe that is the part where people are not ready to consider yet. And what looks like compromise on the surface could, in fact, be sacrificed. Because in order to expose something of this magnitude, you may have to be willing to let your own image take the blow while the truth finds its way out through other voices.
Yeah. So this is how I've been looking at this. The Iran-Israel conflict. It's almost as if everyone's bad, let them destroy each other. That's how I've been looking at it. There are bad actors on either side. They're throwing missiles at each other. They're bombing each other. Go ahead.
Interestingly, what we're hearing and probably what's happening are probably also two different things, because I wish I could find it. I'm not as good as Stu. He's so amazing with saving this stuff. But I had seen a video where they talked about how they are using these direct weapons that are using frequency. And what they do is there's a science to it. It hits the brain.
That's what they used in Venezuela.
Right. And so a lot of what they're doing is they're knocking out the competition to go in and to do a lot of these missions. And that's why it's not the same as a kinetic war. That's why Reed said we're not doing conventional war the way we used to do it. And as a result of that, there's less death. there's less carnage that happens to achieve the goal. But I wanted to go back to one of the other things they said about the Balfour Agreement. What I would say, I wasn't aware of this, up until the last few years, and I'm sure every Israel supporting person and Jewish person has no clue that Lord Balfour actually made a deal with the Rothschilds, the Balfour Agreement. Now picture this. This is someone in England making a deal about another country to sell the land, to grant them the right to go in this land. And up until, not sure what the date is, it was Palestine. And if you look at it, they stole that land. They stole it.
And there's also chatter, isn't there, that the whole point of the Second World War and the Holocaust was to give them a reason to be able to do that. Yep. Which is horrific to think about, how many people fucking died and sent their sons and daughters to war. If this was and I don't like calling them elite, a cabal plan.
Yeah. And I think we also have to remember, which I think is going to shock the living crap out of every single person because of how we've been indoctrinated, it will come out how Hitler was not the guy we thought he was, and how the cabal and who was really killing the Jews and behind all that does go back to Russia. And if you remember, if you've watched Patton, who was pretty much hated, right? I mean, he was revered, okay? And because of his strategy, and he was revered because of his ability to get things done and lead men. But the Germans, like Rommel, the Americans would use Patton as a decoy because they knew that they respected him so much that wherever they thought he was, they were sending him on all kinds of ridiculous, to talk to women and do all this stuff. And then they were following him in all these areas. Meanwhile, the Americans and the Allies were able to go into different places because their eyes weren't there, right? So you have this guy who at the end of the war said, what are we doing? We got our troops here. Where we really need to go is Russia, because that's where you still had Stalin, who was an ally, right? But all the horrible things, because it's a known fact that he killed more people ever than Hitler. So my point is, these things are going to come out, and how we were brainwashed when there's a different agenda to what Hitler was doing. And that's not to say that there weren't rogue SS people and, that were actually working and doing awful things, but it's going to come out that he was really working against a lot of what these.
Yeah, and there was an amazing.
It's documented that the Germans during the war arrested the Rothschilds. That's been documented.
Yeah.
So
there is an amazing documentary called "The Greatest Story Never Told." It's 6.5 hours long, and it's when people watch that. They have now I've got plenty of videos about Hitler saved, right? We can't go through them all, but this is a little 2-minute video from Ken O'Keefe that he posted the other day, which is very interesting.
In 1933, Judea declares war against Germany. 14 million Jews of the world unite, calling for the destruction of Germany. You know what's really kind of relevant about that? In 2023, based on a narrative of beheaded babies and mass rape, the Jewish state of Israel declared its genocidal intent against the Palestinians. And we've watched it. We have watched it real time. Who would have thought that in 1933, Judea was calling for genocide of a Christian nation known as Germany, with a leader who outlawed usury, ended vivisection, arrested Rothschilds, banned secret societies and Freemasonry, got every single German to work when their money and the jobs didn't exist. He ended homelessness. And this is the narrative that we've been told by those who control the media, Hollywood, AIPAC-controlled politicians, U.S. taxpayers becoming financiers for the Jewish state so it can have socialism free healthcare, free education, prosperity, jobs everywhere. That's what we Goyim do for them. And they tell us a narrative that Mr. Evil is named Adolf Hitler and that they're the poor victims. And yet it was Judea that declared their genocidal intent against Germany when Adolf Hitler had only just been popularly, democratically elected, in which no other leader in Europe was popularly, democratically elected. And one other thing I might say about Adolf is that he had a 99% approval rating. And everything he said he would do during campaign time, he did it. He did it. So, do I believe your Holocaust narrative? To be honest, I would use a strong word, but I won't use that strong word at the end of it. You can take that Holocaust, 6 million gas chamber stuff, and shove it where the sun don't shine. I call BS.
And I want to say strategically, I don't think it's an accident in the circles that they compare Trump to Hitler. Like, I know they're doing it in a derogatory fashion.
Right.
But I think as we unfold this and things start to declass and we start to get the truth and it starts to the education, the indoctrination is changed, I think we're going to see that they're very similar. Now,
I think the real analysis and the real comparison should be Trump to Patton.
Yeah, because Patton said the only, I'm going to bastardize his quote here, but he said afterwards, we were fighting the wrong enemy.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also in terms of strategy, in terms of 4D chess, in terms of righteousness, steadfastness, I think that's a very good comparison as well.
Yeah.
And David just said in the chat here, Stu, watch Europa, the last battle on Rumble. Yeah, I've watched that. It's about, there's a few parts of it, isn't there? Maybe 6, 7 parts, I think. But it's an amazing watch.
Yeah.
Great.
Two great things, that and the greatest story never told. Just like one thing, if you guys now, have you seen Patton, Stu, the movie 1970 with George C. Scott?
I've seen it.
I don't think I have. It's long, isn't it? I've seen parts of it, but you were talking. I know you watched it with George.
Yeah, George and I watched it. He's like, I want to watch it again, and we watched it again the same
Great
week.
Movie. Great.
It's such a great movie, but one of my favorite. There's so many like classic things in there that were, and by the way, even though we know about Hollywood and everything, allegedly the story came from the notes from Omar Bradley and from his book. So again, whatever. But there's one scene where at the end, after they're sitting with the Russians, and the translator comes over and says he would like to, about the Russian leader, the military leader. He says he would like to, the general. He said he'd like to share a drink with you. And Patton says, I'm not drinking with any Russian. I don't know if he calls him a commie. I can't remember the exact words. Son of a bitch. And the translator's like, I can't say that. He goes, tell him. And he goes, and he tells him in Russian, whatever he says. And the general goes like, he's like appalled. And he goes, so then the translator said, well, he says you're a son of a bitch. So then Patton goes, all right. And so like they intertwine their arms and they drink. He goes, here's from one son of a bitch to another. So the thing is, this was like apparently a very real, no nonsense, no bullshit, call it like it is, man, which is what we need.
Yeah. So if we could transition a bit, it's I'm the one being red pilled, right?
Yes.
So I want to share some like nice inspiration from the week. So I've never been good with death. I couldn't handle it. Like ever since I was a little kid, it really messed me up. Like I would avoid cemeteries, I would avoid funerals to the point where I felt terrible, like I didn't know what to say to people. I'm sorry for your loss. Please accept my condolences. I couldn't even get the words out. And this transitioned into my adult life. The truth is, I'm not good with it. But because of, believe it or not, all of this, I have now developed an incredible amount of hope and positivity when it comes to death, to the point where I had my own aunt's demise. She died, and something that really would have had me upside down. I was at the wake, and I was like, wow, she must be having a great time. Like, she must be like doing some really cool stuff. Like, she must be having a better day than we are. You know, like stuff that wouldn't even like cross my mind for a microsecond. I'm like, man, I wonder what she's seeing right now. I wonder who she's hanging out with. I wonder what form she's in. I wonder what they're teaching her, who she's with, who's, you know, where she's living. Like, and then when I kneeled before her, I was like, wow, you must be really getting your mind blown by what you're seeing right now. So you know what? That's wonderful, because it allows you to go through life with such hope and such like positivity, and this is just part of the journey and the next journey, and you know, we're like this amazing souls, as opposed to just people that live, breed, eat some delicious meals, stew, some fantastic Indian food, and then die. And now it's like, man, this is like, okay. You know, she went from being this old lady to, I don't know what she is, but I'm sure it's not an old lady.
Yeah, I think what you'll find in this movement is almost everyone who is on the awakening path, gone on a spiritual journey, turning to God and the Creator, and whatever their beliefs, we've all lost our fear of death. You know, and none of us want to be fucking undrawn and quartered or eaten by a pack of lions, really. But, you know, it's, you don't have that fear because you believe we're here in a meat suit having a spiritual journey of a human existence.
But I'll tell you what's been really, really messed up. So we're expected to have faith, right? Everyone's have faith, believe. Here's the problem. We've been fucked over with the data. They've taken the data away from us so that the faith becomes almost like a ridiculous leap of faith.
That's what science is.
Like apparently, and this is something that I would love to discuss if you guys are open to it, specific biblical books that have been disappeared that would allow us to have a cleaner chain of title to faith.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just, you know, the Catholic Church's interpretation of what we should believe. They've taken away the data set by which we should have probably very easy to have faith. So as opposed to like have faith, it's like, okay, I'll have faith. They've taken away the books, what we could read to truly understand the scripture, so that we don't even have to tell each other have faith, because yeah, it's in the books, of course.
Yeah, and the book and the rest of the book we've been given has been rewritten and messed about with.
Stu, the King James Bible, the King's Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, that says it all right there. It's what the king wants you to know. King James.
I will
There's a
share.
lot of chat, isn't there, about the Schofield Bible as well?
Yeah.
You know, leading people astray.
Razor is actually Razor Rick is in the chat.
Hello, Razor.
And he said, I'll join on that, the conspiracy of organized religion. And he's done a lot of study. He's a great person to follow.
I love that, because I really would love to discuss lost books. Like I've heard something called the Book of Enoch, which I am fascinated by, because if we had all these books, all this old data, everything would just be so easy.
Well, what if it's all BS? In other words, What if it's just control mechanisms? Like what you'll find with a lot of people who have awakened to a large extent is that they've grown closer to the creator and further from organized religion, because it's been
Lisa, what I'm saying is, if there are people that were close to Christ,
Right.
They were contemporaries of Christ, and a lot of their writings have been eliminated from Western eyes.
Yeah, 100%.
It affects our ability as a humanity to have faith,
Right.
because we're basing faith based on essentially hope as opposed to evidence.
Well, this is another reason we've had this massive push of science, right? Because the push for science is to eradicate the creator, to eradicate God out of people's lives and that faith.
I think you can have both, but you can then have science if it's all out there. So with ivermectin, with chlorine dioxide, man, if it's out there, put it out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all fighting
if the shit works, put it out there. It's science. I mean, it's chlorine dioxide. It's not like, it's not like a cup of water. There's something to it.
Right.
Right. If humanity has discovered stuff, put it out there. If we have books of Christ contemporaries, put it out there.
I'll show you another book we've discovered.
But they did the opposite.
Well, of course they did, because they want us to not be all we can be, not be close. Listen, you were raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I don't consider myself a Catholic anymore. Okay. Because it's a book of rules, an indoctrination, in my humble opinion, that is not about following necessarily just living like Jesus. It's about, he's
dogma.
God is out there somewhere. He's out there. No, he's right here. He's right here. And Jesus's own words, according to what we've been told, is that the things I do, you could do even better, because he told us we had it within us, but we're not taught that. So, you're right. But that's the whole crux of the issue of what the whole truther movement at this point is about, and the people before us who've been killed because they tried to put out the truth.
Is there any truth to the frequency of church bells in cathedrals?
I think so. Yeah.
I read that somewhere and I was like, okay.
They wanted to basically.
I get this. So maybe they were able to get this stuff over the eons. And then once, maybe the architects, or there were good people back then that designed the churches, there were maybe some essentially old-time logarithms that they were applying to apply frequencies to heal people. I'm assuming there were white hats back then too, right?
Yeah.
Throughout history.
Well,
this was a way of like creating a hospital when they didn't have, modern technologies.
I mean, you just said hospital. What did they used to use in hospitals? They used to use linen sheets, linen
Copper.
heels. Linen heels. Now they don't use it anymore. Like, they've taken everything. Like, we should all be wearing linen clothing, because that is the highest frequency and it's healing, right? But what do they have us in? Synthetics and polyester and all this stuff. So, it's an education process, like you said, to find the truth. And I believe this war is about allowing the truth to come out, allowing us to know what God's real plan was and is for us, which has been hidden. And that's part of the whole draining the swamp process.
The Epstein files have really, I mean, I've been out there. I've been on the subways. I was in the subways yesterday. I had another friend of mine who's Jewish. His father died. So it's like the week of death. It's like death is all around me, but it's incredible the amount of hope that I feel with death now. It's just something else. But I know that this Epstein Files has gotten to the population. I could tell. I heard people on the subway talking about it.
Wow.
I heard some guy on the subway say, "Yeah, I'm just a poor goyim." I'm like, holy shit.
That's very encouraging. That really is. That makes me feel
mean, what
good.
is going on? This is crazy. Like, people are paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I forget, Stu, just keep in your back of your mind, I would love to end the show with volunteers.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
I'll just write that down. Couple of things on that. I was going to say something. They wanted to basically have everything we believed to be truth and good for us to be an absolute lie. This is why when you wake up, you need to pretty much forget everything you've ever learned and start again from the opposite.
I'm trying.
Two things. I wanted to mention something from earlier. You were saying let them all destroy each other because all these missiles, they're all firing missiles at each other.
Yeah.
You don't actually know that, right? That's what we've been told on the TV. However, Trump, over like the last 6, 8 years, 10 years, has been making Middle Eastern peace deals, right? The Abraham Accords, getting all these people together. And I believe that was, Israel wasn't invited to some of these meetings that was going on. So I believe Trump has been building a coalition of Arab nations and stuff for this time to bring in this peace while they take out the remaining criminals. And whether that's, the mullahs in Iran and the Mossad in Israel.
Right. So it is both. Like, just take out the bad guys in both places.
Yeah, exactly. There's bad guys everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's remember, if we go back to some other things, and I know there are some podcasters and truthers that don't hold the belief in this as strongly as others. I happen to be a very strong believer in Nasara and Jassara, and we've seen evidence. I don't think they're going to get on the loudspeaker and say, we're now implementing Nasara. I think we're seeing it. We're seeing it with the Doge. We're seeing it with the tariffs. We're seeing it with the gold. We're seeing it with all these things that are happening. But you have to remember, one of the things that it says is that there has to be peace among nations and peace with nations to their people. So this is all in line with this whole peace thing is part of what enables a lot of what Nasara and Jassara and this equality to occur. So I think we're seeing everything in motion. They're just not making this announcement.
So it's interesting. So you don't realize how much of a lockdown. I had no idea that Israel was such a lockdown information society. They've threatened the population with 5 years in prison if they get out videos of the bombings. It's you have to, from what gets out, from what I could tell, they're getting pummeled. And they're very concentrated in cities. The Israelis, the population. Same with Iran. Iran's getting pummeled too. And the only exposure that the U.S. really has is airplanes and boats. So I look at it from a strategic point of view. If I wanted both sides to get eradicated strategically, that's how I would do it. Set up an armada with layers of protection. I have my jets. I have my super advanced aircraft carriers. I have all this stuff. And I'm there to provide support. But what we're really doing is we're taking out the Iranian bad guys. And the Iranians are taking out the Israeli bad guys. Because we can't do it.
And we've got to assume the Russians and, there's the coalition that's in there doing this. And then don't forget, we're not even counting the extreme technology that exists where they're using stuff from space. They're using these very high advanced, energy and frequency weapons.
It's the
Remember,
first
Trump always
time-
says we have technology that you can't even imagine.
It's the first time that there's a war that I am completely ambivalent to the nation winning. It is simply take out the bad guys, take out the bad guys. Cool.
Oh, you're muted.
I'll show you something else that's been going on. Well, everyone has been looking at Iran.
Oh yeah.
Taiwan.
Oh yeah.
We've got
Taiwan Semiconductor.
We've got US ships all here around one side. The Chinese, which
Wait a second. We're there. The U.S. is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just say something. Stu, remember
not just the Chinese.
No,
No, these are all US battleships, and
I didn't know that.
Well, listen, back in 2021, Stu, do you remember who I think it was right before Trump left? Yeah. Do you remember who was put in charge of that theater? General Flynn's brother.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the head of the Pacific Fleet or something, wasn't he?
And it was on our radar for like 3 seconds, and we never heard about it again. Now, why would Trump put this man in charge of that area when he was about to leave and Biden was taken over? Allegedly.
Oh,
right?
I'm so confused. I really thought this is what I believed. I believe this is what's in my stupid mind, that they cut a deal. Okay, give us the Western Hemisphere, give us Cuba, give us Venezuela, stay out of our hair, don't get involved, don't give them assistance. Taiwan's yours. Russians take Crimea, support us, and that's it. That's what I thought. I thought, okay, we'll divvy up the map. You take Taiwan, we'll take the Western Hemisphere, and the Ruskies, you guys take Crimea.
Deep state-wise, you're probably right. Deep state-wise, you're probably right. That's what they did. But now we're talking about this war against the deep state, and each there are playgrounds. They have playgrounds. Ukraine was a playground, Israel, Taiwan. These were disgusting, horrible playgrounds for child trafficking and all kinds of other disgusting stuff. And that's where the deep state embedded themselves, and they weren't touched. Well, then very interesting how Russia goes into Ukraine, and we're going into all these areas, and it's a strategic takedown of draining the swamp worldwide, because we're all humans, we're all earthlings, we're all the same, and we need to rid this whole entire world of these disgusting, horrible, whatever they are.
Yeah, I'll just show you another book we found, Renee. Talking about the Book of Enoch. That's one we found. Like, I hate that soppy background when you try to say something.
Okay, there we go. Hold it up a little. Yeah.
Oh, I can't see the first word.
The earliest gospel.
I love that.
Of Q.
I love that.
That's the book that a lot of people...
Do you have any videos on the Book of Enoch? I would love to see it.
But you can just I watched one yesterday because I knew you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I would love to.
But it's so easy to go onto YouTube and or these other platforms.
You got to understand, like, if you go down the rabbit hole of Enoch starts goes back to the Sumerians and Sumeria, and you start to go down the hole also of who was really here, who came to Earth, who manipulated us genetically, and there's a story, like you could sort of watch this story. There's a lot of I've watched a lot of it too, not of late, probably like 3 years ago, I was really into this. And then you can get into a lot about the Anunnaki and about Enlil. And
is there anything in the book of Enoch that talks about post-Christ?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's all about the history of humanity.
So it's way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the fallen angels and the Nephilim and breeding with you know the women and stuff. Rene, I just want to ask you: have you ever heard of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion? It's called the Secret Covenant. Have you heard that?
No,
right now, some people say that's not true, obviously, but a lot of people have looked into this, and this is I'll play this. This is like 7 minutes long. I've just found the video, but this is what they have done to us potentially, and this is, you know, they wanted to fuck us over in every single way. If it's a bit slow, I'll speed it up. All right.
An illusion it will be. So large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep our lifespan short and our minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways, so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives and food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from on many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. For all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them, and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their hell. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most: sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese, and when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention toward money and material goods, so they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we will find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governance and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure always, for it is the way. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives. We will make them kill each other when it suits us, and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. Hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts, we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their death. We shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. This they must never know. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. They must never know that color is an illusion. They must always think they are not equal. Drop by drop, drop by drop. We will advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, and wealth to exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they will have. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever. keeping them and their children in debt. When they shall band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we will crush them like insects. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. They must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things, great titles, but never will they become immortal and join us. Never will they perceive the light and travel the stars. They will never reach the higher realms, for the killing of their own kind will prevent passage to the realm of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will not be able to focus on it until it is too late. Oh yes, so grand the illusion of freedom will be, they will never know that they are our slaves. When all is in place, the reality we will have created for them will own them. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new era of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs, the beliefs we have established from time immemorial. What if they ever find out they are our equal? We shall perish then. This they must never know. They must never, ever find out what we have done. This covenant must never, ever be known to exist.
That's really something. Really something. So essentially, we are the genetic equal of these beings, except they want to dominate us so that we won't be like them. And if we find out about them, we will kill them.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think we're superior.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Okay.
Because it's said that we are considered genetic royalty because we have been created from so many genetics of so many species. And if you consider that the strands of our DNA have been decreased and they call it junk DNA, what is all that junk? What does that give us the power to do? To heal ourselves, to manifest things, to love each other, to communicate.
And you mentioned immortality, and that's a topic that I'm fascinated by, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so consumed by AI, because using AI, we can find cures for every disease. We can live forever, or maybe not forever, but like a very, very long time. And I'm convinced that at some point in history that someone somehow has modified our DNA. Because imagine if we didn't even have telomeres. If a telomere did not exist, you'd live forever, right?
Well, for a very long time anyway.
Yeah, the only thing that really kills us is shortening of telomeres. So if you genetically reprogram us, through CRISPR or one of these technologies to eradicate the telomere, then you are your young self forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go around like as a baby because that's not fun.
Right.
I mean, I'll have a shot of Gerber's every now and then, but I don't want to be eating Gerber's all the time. I like my teeth. I really do. I mean, I would like to get some of my hair back. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But imagine being like your optimal age forever.
Yeah. Well, from what we understand, that's with the frequency. See, like I'm of the belief that there are no cures. They have given us disease on purpose.
Right, but then you have the parasites.
No, but that if we
also
lived naturally,
right, parasites
God gave us everything. He gave us everything. Think of the cures, how simple, all these simple things that are just accessible to us. And if you think about it, right, certain things like baking soda and Epsom salt and, hydrogen peroxide, like all these things, like $1.99, $2.99, like all these things that are accessible to us. But you have to ask, why are we sick? Why are there the diseases? They were put there. So it's really not about cures. It's about eradicating what's making us susceptible to need cures because that was their model.
So,
Yeah,
my dad's a diabetic, and
Which is so curable.
He started taking cinnamon pills. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
No blood sugar. He's normal. So you know what I did? Even though I'm not diabetic, I figured, okay, they're feeding me so much poison. Everything has sugar in it, everything. I'm going to prophylactically prevent whatever problem I may or may not have. So I started taking cinnamon pills. And I can tell you something. I have noticed differences. I remember before I started doing this, I would feel some, like, on my skin of my feet. I felt like some kind of like lack of sensation. Like I would go like this, like, why don't I feel this like how I do on my hands? I started taking this, and I think it's gone. So I've been taking some stuff. Like I've been taking I mean, tell me if maybe by complete luck I stumbled onto something. You guys are the naturalists. I don't know this stuff. So I've been taking apple cider vinegar.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I've been doing the cinnamon. What else? What else I've been taking? Oh, I've been taking DHEA for like testosterone. Like, you know, I'm 54 just to be strong. I've been lifting a lot in the gym. So my ability to lift has really increased. You know, and it's inexpensive, and I think that's what it is. These other meds are pricey. They get to rape the people of their tax dollars. You know, they get to bill insurance companies. They get to create insurance companies.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Your beloved aunt. I can't even tell you how much they gave her, and then every time something didn't work out, they gave her more.
Right, and I was thinking about that. I was wondering how much money United Healthcare, or one of these big carriers, spent on something that was completely a waste of time. Because she was done. So to extend her life like another week, how much did that cost?
Okay, but let's go back. Forget about that. Let's go back to the diagnosis 11 years ago when they gave her 3 years. What if at that point they took a different road?
Yeah.
They went naturopathically. And that did not progress, because every time, if you think about the disease that she had, I'm not even going to call it a disease, just the
condition
going on, the condition, it was pulmonary fibrosis. Well, what starts to happen is, pieces of the lungs start to get like crunchy. You know, I'm probably oversimplifying, but my point is, you're giving steroids to help with the breathing. Steroids are like poison. It's making that happen more. So if there was a naturopathic way that was being treated, I have no doubt in my mind that she'd still be working 3 days a week.
Right.
Still be babysitting. She'd be driving. She'd be hanging out with her sister, her sister-in-law, brother. They'd be, because in my opinion, they shortened her life. And everybody says, oh, she was 87.
Treating is profitable. Curing is not.
Yeah.
It's all profits.
Yeah.
Profits.
I mentioned this before, but I had a big mole on my stomach. There it is. There, look. See that?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that was all.
It looks like Africa.
it was getting a bit itchy and all these sorts of stuff. So I did go to the doctors. This is 4, 5, 6 years ago, I think. And she sort of went, "Oh, that's all right, whatever." But it had an edge on it. It was itchy. It was a bit crusty and stuff like that. Apple cider. I did some research. spoke to one of my mates. He said the only thing, he had a wart on his hand, the only thing that ever touched it, and he used all these salicylic gels and everything, was apple cider vinegar. So I decided that I put a big plaster over it, like that. I've got some cotton buds, tapped it in apple cider vinegar, put it in there, put the plaster over it like that. And every few hours, I was just peeling back the bit of plaster, taking that out, putting another soaked bit in there. Did that for 3 days, wore it in bed as well. Took it off for 2 days to let it dry out a little bit. There's bits coming off it in the shower. Did it for another couple of days, had another shower and scraped it all off. I've got a mark there now, but I ain't got a mole there.
It's gone. Well, it's...
Yeah.
And to think, all it took was a fermented apple.
And a bit of research.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
go ahead.
not going to the doctor, basically, you know, so what do you want me to do? Because I think many people in that situation would go to the doctor. They'd go for some sort of removal, then they'd get told it's, you know, they'd have to do
Pre-cancer. That's a big one. Pre-cancer.
Stuff. You mention that word to people and it's the end of the world, isn't it? You know, and then they go downhill.
Yeah.
No, and then you mess with their heads because now they think they have pre-cancer.
Yeah.
And their quality of life goes to hell. They're miserable. They're stressed out. They're worried. They'll do anything and everything that the doctor recommends.
Right.
Because they don't want to die of cancer. It's like, do this. Okay. Do this. Okay. And meanwhile, they're bilking their insurance companies for God knows how much money. And if they don't have insurance, they're bilking the government for I don't know how much money.
Yeah. Well, I told after all this whole last week, I told my family knows I don't care. I mean, unless I get hit by a bus and they got to like sew my arm on or something, but do not take me to do not ever take me to a hospital. Ever. Do not bring me in those doors.
Yeah.
No way. Unless it changes. You know what I'm saying? Like they have the infrastructure. It would be great if somebody like my fantasy is you get a team and they walk into it's like, okay, we're going to like position people throughout the country, throughout the world. We're going to go into the hospitals. They got beds, and we're going to bring in frequency and we're going to bring in nutrition and we're going to have, you know, singing bowls and we're going to have like if that's what they want to use them for, take me, because we're going to be going regularly just for, you know, to just feel really good. But if it's what it is now and the obscene, horrible lack of knowledge, lack of nutrition, all the stuff that goes on, I'm telling you. I also told them this whole funeral business. I was like, just take me, put me in a fucking hefty bag, okay? If you got to fold me in half to fit me, go down to wherever you want to go, a nice, pretty, like water. Just like heave ho, go back and forth, right? And just fucking dump me in there. What is this? Thousands of dollars, a coffin, it's going in the ground. Like
everything sucks. Like everything is done to like screw people over. So I'm getting bombarded. I'm getting bombarded by my wife right now. So, you know, I'm a busy guy. Like I forgot to pay a real estate tax from 2024. I forgot. So then I'm like, okay. So I deposited a check from one account into the other account that is like a personal account, but it's at a different bank. Mind you, I have the money. Mind you, I did it last week. What hasn't cleared yet? The check. So that if I don't pay this tax by tomorrow, they hit me with a 1% fee. Like everything. Yeah, I know. So they do everything in their power to fuck you. So they want to be able to use my money for whatever bullshit they want to do for 5 days, knowing that the money's there. Now I have to stop everything I do to go to the bank, and they're going to tell me, oh, no, that's back office. I'm like, okay, can you call the back office? Everything to fuck us.
Yeah. Well, you got to
And
remember.
and then you can't own your own real estate
Right.
without having to pay a tax.
Right, but you don't own it.
It's not enough that we had to fight and claw so we can own our own homes. You know, people that have mortgages, thank God I don't, had to fight and claw to make those payments. It's like we don't own anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be grateful. Thank you.
And the whole point of this truth movement is we're all trying to unfuck ourselves as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Listen,
remember,
I'm a cryptomaniac now, and I know that I'm taking a very, very valid path to unfuck myself.
but you have to remember too, right, with this whole money thing, that every time you do something, every time you get a driver's license, you graduate college, you get a law degree, they are trading your bond. They have a bond, and all of us are worth at least a couple of $100 million to maybe $1 billion, depending on how many bonds they've taken out on you. And because Mel's new movie is going to be all about this, and they did an experiment, and they did where they went on the back of their social security card and they paid bills through those, because there were like I think 10 or 12 central banks throughout the country, and they put in those numbers, the bank numbers, and their bills were paid.
I need to learn more about this because I find this insane. Are you referring to, like, on a birth certificate there's a number on it?
There used to be a website. It was called something like GMEI Utility, and I can't find it anymore. But I've been in there once, typed in my national insurance number, and I viewed all the companies that were trading on me.
Come on.
Yeah, the stock market that we know, there's a whole other market. Why do you think they take your foot? They take a baby's foot and take a footprint, right? They are marking us, and
we
now
are commodities? Like a commodity?
Commodity.
Yeah, we are a commodity of labor. How much they are gonna earn out of us through our lifetime. And
so somebody right now is making a profit off of my profiting.
Yeah, looks like it.
Every time you do something, you get a marriage license, a divorce decree, a fishing license, a degree from school, all those things. Why do you have to register everything? Why does everything get registered?
So it's the government's. Okay,
it's not
so
the government. It's through the government.
Through the government.
It's this group, these great little, ones that are in control, like we just watched the movie, and they have their own little trading system. So technically, that's what we're all worth. And there are people who have collected.
I got it. So every time I pay a toll.
Yeah, a ticket.
And they get a piece of that.
They take out a bond and trade.
But the way that generates money for this group or someone that is not the government would be based on that interaction with the government, like a speeding ticket, a license, a fishing license, a law license, stuff like that.
Right.
That's the source of the revenue for that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. That's why I say, fuck you, I'm not paying a ticket. I'm not paying tickets. I'm not paying a fucking ticket. Fucking come and arrest me. I'll send you, if I really don't want to be bothered, just because it fills up my mailbox, right? You're going to tell me I got to go 25 miles an hour, and if I go 28, you're giving me a ticket? Go fuck yourself. If I go into an intersection and it's green and it goes yellow, red, which is all time to go fast, and then I go and then I get a ticket for going through a red light, like, fuck you. So if I don't want to be bothered, I send in $1. I send in $1. After 3 months, we're in contract. I can pay you $1 for like the rest of my life. But sometimes I just throw them in the garbage.
Or you can pay them like in pennies.
Yeah. I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
You know how many I get? My kids are in Queens all the time, going to school. They're like, Ma, I don't even know. Here's the best one. We get a ticket. There's a bus, a school bus, no lights on, like it's off, no stop sign. Well, I got to wait there? No, I went. There's no kids. The bus isn't on. It's not stopped. The stop sign. They have cameras on the buses. We get a ticket, $250 that I illegally went past this.
Wow.
Fuck you. And I feel like, yeah, I'm actually going to go to court. I'm going to say, first of all, show me the contract. Where's my contract with you that I signed? I remember signing a contract agreeing to this. Show me that. That's my last ticket. I sent that in. Show me the contract I signed. Because that's common law. I didn't sign a contract.
Yeah.
And in Suffolk, they pulled all those red light cameras down. I don't know what's wrong with Nassau. We got to get them to do that here.
They had, I remember when I lived in Long Beach for a little bit, they had speed cameras. The people lost their shit because they were getting tickets every month. Every month. People can't afford to be paying this crap every month. There was enough uproar where they got rid of it.
Yeah. And I think people in Nassau, you know, I mean, you go down Cross Bay Boulevard. It's like if you go like 28 miles, who can go that slow?
No one. No, and then they use safety, the safety of the children.
Right.
Of the children. Because of the schools and the kids. You might run over a kid.
Right.
But all it is, it's just to suck the life out of the population.
Now, I will tell you, a lot of people in our chat, in our movement, they won't get a driver's license anymore. They don't register their vehicles. Like, that's the next step. And then you can watch these films of people who really live their lives in common law. And they got documents and papers and all kinds of shit. And cop pulls them over. And the first thing they say is, I do not answer any questions. Where are you going with that? And that's how they get you. You never say, I understand.
Right.
You're finished. So these are the things we have to start teaching our children. And if no one's hurt, then a crime has not been committed. So tell me who was hurt when I went 28 miles an hour instead of 25. Who was hurt?
You know, it's an interesting way of looking at this. I get it. I totally get it.
Well, I'm not looking at, that's common law. They have put on us and forced us to work under maritime law.
Endless regulations.
Yeah. And
for everything.
We will eventually get into the bar. We will get into the unlawfulness of the bar at some point, which will blow your mind, which comes out of England also.
I mean, I got to make money though, guys. This is how I make a buck.
That website I was looking for, I think it's been taken down. It was taken down a long time ago, but GMEI Utility stands for Global Markets Entity Identifier. And do
you have any videos on this? Because this is insane.
No, I haven't looked at it for ages. It's I found it in the on the Wayback Machine. I had to use Yandex as well for this because it wasn't coming up anywhere else.
Is it gone? Did they pull it?
GMEI portal. Yeah. Oh, the website's gone. Yeah, you can read about it.
Figure. But Renee, think about that.
Oh, cool. So Renee, my chandelier is here.
Nice. Think about this. You just made a comment. You make a buck this way, right? And absolutely you do when you support your family and you support a lot of people and you help a lot of people. But imagine if you, a brilliant person, started becoming a common law lawyer. How many people would pay you big bucks to get out of all these prisons? Just think about it.
Look, so I am, in many ways, I'm not part of the problem, but I don't make my money like that. So the only real way to really make a lot of money is by kind of finding the way to leverage a lot of money. So what do I do for a living? I do catastrophic personal injury law. All right. So the way I make money, no one pays me money. I'm not paid by my client. I represent his case, and the money comes not from the defendant, which could be a business, a building, a general contractor. It's by the insurance company that insures said defendant. So there's the contract. The contract is between the insurance company, which, these are multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar, behemoths that insure landlords, GCs, etc. So under the laws that are created in New York State, I bring lawsuits on behalf of a person against the entity, which is then indemnified by this insurance company. If I had to collect money from human beings to make the amount of money that I make, I would be working till I'm 1,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid to win.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're taking the money back off the right people. If you're getting insurance company.
And that case that we had going on, it settled yesterday.
Oh, good.
And let's just say I'm very happy for the client. And let me just share this with you. So it's rare that I have a client that I feel like I must do this for them. I do it typically. It's my duty. It's my job. They're my clients. But this one was special. And I'm going to tell you why. So in New York, there's been a lot of fraud in the insurance, in the industry, with staged accidents, a whole bunch of stuff. But this man, the one whose case we finished, without going into details, without giving his name, I'm just generally speaking, this man was able many, many years ago to open my eyes to the cartels on the border as to what they were doing with people's identity. So the way it turned out, the way it happened, I got a new case in, and this case was of a man who had an accident, and he was also a chef, a Peruvian chef. I was like, oh, I have another client who's a Peruvian chef. His name is X. And he's like, oh, I think I know him. Does he look like this? Like, yeah. Oh, wow. So let's take a selfie, and I'll send it to this other person who's the client that I was able to settle his case yesterday. So I send the client whose case I settled the selfie photo and say, Michael, John says hello. He's my new client. He calls me like hysterical, like he just saw a ghost. Can you send me a car to come see you tomorrow? I really need to see you. I'm like, dude, chill. Yeah, sure, no problem. Really, you got to come all the way from New Jersey? Yes, I have to come all the way from New Jersey. So I got in the car. It turns out that person who is going to be my client was not the person who he said he was. He was someone else who was given by the cartels at the border a fake ID, a fake identity. So because of this man whose case I settled for an incredible amount of money, because of him, I've been able to stay clean for many, many years because I was wary of this possibility. And the rest of my colleagues in the industry were unaware.
Wow.
So I owe him not only a debt of gratitude, in many ways, I owe him possibly even my career and plus. So I had dinner with my friend last night and just told him, I'm so relieved because I had to do this for this man. I had to make his life better. But even beyond as a lawyer, I owed him. Yeah. And now I'm like, I'm good.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Pretty wild, right? It's
very. So we're almost at 10, but I want him to see volunteers. It's just like, it makes me cry.
All right, let's see volunteers, and then I have to deal with taxation.
Okay.
Right, this is. Have you not? I've got a bit of deja vu that we've already played this.
Oh, did we? Maybe we did. I don't know.
Have you seen this, Renee? It's two girls talking to each other.
Play it fast, and I remember everything I see. Play it real fast, and I'll tell you quick.
So tell me, out of everything you've ever done, what's the craziest experience you've ever had? That's easy. Earth.
No, I haven't seen this.
Earth? I did. No way. You were a human?
No, I haven't seen this.
Wow. Are the stories about Earth true? Were they really trapped on Earth? Some were. I know because I was one of the volunteers. Wait a second. You volunteered to go to Earth? I did. I had to. I had family trapped on Earth. But how could you get trapped on Earth? You had to be there to understand. On Earth, you wouldn't remember anything. What do you mean you wouldn't remember anything? I mean, you would have no memory of anything. You wouldn't even remember existing before Earth. What? How is that possible? It was designed that way. It was brilliant. To dive as deeply as possible into such ignorance, such darkness, and still find your way back to remembering who you were, that took true mastery. Wow. I still can't believe you went to Earth. Tell me more. Well, Earth had its own set of laws that everyone agreed to experience, like gravity. What goes up must come down, like linear time. Day is followed by night. Time? What's time? You know how when we think of something, it manifests instantly? Well, on Earth, there was a delay. The delay is what made Earth so difficult. Interesting. Time. So tell me more. Before going to Earth, you would choose your family, whether you wanted to be male or female, what race you wanted to be, the location on the planet, things like that. Oh, so you could choose your own character. Exactly. You would enter the Earth as a baby and be completely dependent on others to teach you the rules. But since nobody could remember the rules, they made up their own rules, based on fear and giving your power away to others. That doesn't sound like much fun. It wasn't for everyone. What'd you do while portions of you were on Earth? I watched them. It was pretty funny. What was so funny? Here were these magnificent beings, playing the most unique and cutting-edge experience in the universe, and they were clueless. I tried to guide them as much as possible. Wait a second, you could communicate with them? Yes, but they couldn't hear me. I would show them synchronicities, or send them impulses to help guide them, but they couldn't see the signs. Why not? They didn't trust themselves. So is that why they sent out a call for help? Exactly. Is that when you went? No, I didn't go until later. First volunteers, they had it the worst. What do you mean, had it the worst? Well, they killed them. What? They killed the volunteers. They killed them? Those on Earth couldn't understand what the volunteers were telling them. The idea that they were equal to the volunteers scared them. What were they telling them? Common sense stuff like, all the answers you seek are inside.
Hey, Renee, good morning, buddy. Give me a call when you can.
So they killed them? And then they twisted the volunteers' message and created even more fear. What do you mean, more fear? Like the message, God is inside you, was turned into, you are separate from God. The message, all the answers you seek are inside you, was twisted into, you can't trust yourself. And they believed it? It was out of control. How could they believe that? You had to be there to understand. Did you know they actually believed that they were the only intelligent life in the universe? Now that's funny. Pretty crazy, I know. So then what happened? The designers knew Earth was going to enter a section of the galaxy that humans had never experienced before. A section filled with a frequency that might be able to reconnect the human's DNA. What was wrong with their DNA? It didn't work anymore. The thing is, their DNA was how they connected with their higher self. So that's why your incarnations couldn't hear you. Exactly. But there was a catch with the new plan. Only those incarnated on Earth could tune in to these new frequencies. Oh, so they needed more volunteers. Yes, but this time they were taking no chances. To pull this off, they needed millions in the physical form, wired and ready to attune to these frequencies. Are these the 21st century humans that all the stories are about? Yep. We volunteered from every corner of the universe to help the humans wake up. What did the volunteers have to do once they got there? We had to wake ourselves up, attune to these frequencies, and spread them to the rest of the planet. That sounds impossible. Most of those watching the Earth experiment didn't think we could pull it off. So, what happened when you got to Earth? Once on Earth, we were taught the same fear-based beliefs that had been handed down for eons. We lived just like everyone else, totally clueless to who we were and what was getting ready to happen. But as soon as the Earth entered this cloud of frequencies, we started to question everything. And one by one, we started to wake up. So the plan was working. It was. The more we trusted ourselves, the quicker we reconnected. And the faster we started to remember what was happening. And since we were spread out evenly all around the planet's frequency began to rise quickly. What happened when the planet's frequency began to rise? The humans' experience of time began speeding up. They started manifesting their beliefs faster and faster. Those consumed with fear created even more fear, and eventually Earth just spun out of control. What do you mean, spun out of control? These low-frequency beliefs that had controlled the human experience for eons could no longer exist, so they began to self-destruct, and the world fell into complete chaos. That sounds terrifying. It was for those living in fear, but for us volunteers, we all knew it was the end of the old energy and the beginning of the new. So then what happened? A tipping point was reached in our awakening, and we created a new Earth. A new Earth? What happened to the old Earth? It continued on, allowing those who could not let go of their fears to play out their lessons. But for us, we created a new Earth that matched our higher frequency. And as easy as that, all the fear-based beliefs simply fell away. In an instant, we remembered who we were. We knew we were all connected, and we stopped hurting each other. We started respecting each other, started loving each other. We took back our power to create, and we created a new Earth without fear. Wow, so the legends are true. What an incredible experience that must have been. Nice work. Thanks.
That's so beyond awesome. I love that.
Isn't that awesome? So awesome.
So awesome. Oh my God. So awesome.
Sorry, I was muted then. I can't watch that without welling up.
Yeah, no, I was totally welled up. I was trying to
so
control
great.
it.
You know, I'm telling you, there's definitely something going on. There's something, I guess, something in the water. People are changing.
Yeah.
So I'm doing something on Sunday, and I'll just share something about my personal life with you guys that's like really important to me. So when I was a kid, I think a reason why I'm so open to all this stuff is because you ever hear of the game Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
So I was like a really kind of like really to a degree known dungeon master when I was a kid. So this was like a very big part of my life to play this game. And I played it for like over a decade. Like I played it for a very long time. And then I stopped playing. So you know what I'm doing on Sunday? I have a table and put a table here in my office. We hired a dungeon master because I hadn't played it in 30 years. So I have to remember again. I hired a dungeon master and we're playing 7 hours on Sunday. I'm playing the game. I'm playing the game I used to love more than anything on earth.
Have you got a wizard's cloak and a big pointy hat for when you're playing?
If I don't have it, I'm sure you'll lend me one.
Right, I know you've got to go in a minute, Renee, but what we've been talking about today, and you know, God and creation and stuff, a little rabbit hole for you to go down. 1.618, the golden mean.
Oh, this is Fibonacci?
It is Fibonacci as well. Yeah, it's the perfect design of creation. You know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Fibonacci is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I learned about it in high school, and I was like, "This is kind of cool." And in my adult life, I've really come to the realization, like in every shell, every every chart, every prediction, Fibonacci is with us, and it's a true defining set of numbers that guide the universe, I think.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, what a magical show that was again. I think
that was
people
great.
in the chat loved that. We loved you all being here. We're back on in just under 7 hours with Lieutenant Colonel retired Ricardo Bosi, ex-Special Forces and head of the Australia One Party. So that is going to be amazing. 9 o'clock UK time and 5 p.m. Eastern. So
and 8 a.m. Australia Eastern time.
Yeah, on a Friday, and that'll be on these Friday.
That'll be Friday, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So amazing. All right. Well, I'm already looking forward to talking next week. Well, I'm looking more forward to having a curry, a steak, and a Chinese, and anything else, and looking at the vineyards and etc. Wonderful. It's going to be great.
And there are some great restaurants out there as well. By the way, there's some good stuff. We're going to do it all.
Brilliant.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys.
And we'll see you in under 7 hours if you want to come and watch Ricardo. Where we go when we go all.
Bye.
And frankly, I thought it was going to go down much more. Only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game. At a very high level. It's a very high level chess, the highest. And I'm dealing with very smart players. These are smart people. They don't get there. You know, when you deal with some of these people, you're dealing with high level intellect, very high IQ people. These are not Jasmine Crockett and her group. These are smart people. These are really smart people, and violent people, and vicious people, and some very nice people. And some are very nice but violent. They turn violent. But you know what? If I didn't do what I did, we would have been hit. Number one, very important, was the termination of Obama's horrible deal. And number two, this beautiful plane hitting them 8 months ago, whatever it was, and taking out their nuclear capacity. That totally threw them for a loop. If they had that bomb at either time, 5 years ago or 7 months ago, if they had that bomb would have been used almost immediately. Only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game at a very high level.